Now, I know, I'm a little bit late to the party and I might have taken too long to talk about this, but recently an account called Marvel Rivals Media posted a graph of the rank distribution in the game on Twitter. No, I'm never calling it X. And it's just abysmal. It shows us that barely anybody is taking the game seriously, which isn't inherently a bad thing, but when it's in direct competition with a game that has a huge competitive fanbase and one of the biggest esports communities
in the world,
it becomes a problem because it creates this feeling that the game is gonna die out purely because people don't take it seriously and treat it more as a flavor of the week game. It's like how everyone's playing Repo at the minute. Wants another game that comes out and feels like Repo in both gameplay and just general vibes, but in the case of Marvel Rivals, their competitor, Overwatch, is already well established and has recently become super popular again thanks to the addition of perks and a bunch of other cool stuff going on like 6v6 comp, which we haven't seen in years. It's a bit buggy, but, you know, it's fun and it's cool to have back in the game. So what's causing this problem? Why aren't people taking Marvel Rivals seriously, and why are there 1.2 million players in Bronze 3? I know that not all of these accounts are actually Bronze players and that some people just don't play comp at all, but alas, that's the stat we've got, so that's the stat I'm using. Well, it's pretty obvious. If you didn't know, competitive doesn't have placement matches like in Overwatch, meaning everybody starts at the lowest rank, Bronze 3, and has to climb all the way to the top. The only exception of this is at the start of every season where we have a rank reset in which players go down by 4 ranks. So, for example, if you're in Diamond 3, you'll go down to Gold 1. This is an awful way for comp to work because of 2 things. A, Smurfs, and B, people getting hard stuck, and these things kinda go hand in hand. There are definitely players that don't deserve to be in Bronze, but because everyone starts in Bronze, it can sometimes be a bit difficult to climb out of the lower ranks since there's people that are actually super skilled in the lowest rank, when in reality they should be ranked a lot higher. This is because in the lower ranks, there isn't really any skill-based matchmaking because the game works off of rank-based matchmaking. If you're Silver 3, you'll get paired with anyone between Bronze 1 and Silver 2 because it considers it an even match, because the ranks aren't too far from each other in terms of SR points. If I had to put it in a way that makes it easier to digest, it would be like this. Imagine you're back in school. You might still be in school, but anyways, imagine you're going to class and you find out the seating arrangement's been changed and now you're sat next to Randall. Now, Randall is the disruptive, quote-unquote naughty kid that doesn't really do his work and is just there to chat shit all lesson with his boys. You do everything in your power to crack on and get your work done, but Randall is so distracting that it's affected the quality of your work, and, you know, it's completely understandable because this isn't your fault. You can't really do anything about Randall because you're stuck with him since the teacher thinks it will help Randall get better grades. This is exactly what's happening in Bronze 3. Players that should be ranked higher aren't climbing because they're held back by everyone else who actually plays like a Bronze player. This might sound like cope, but it actually happens a lot more than you think. The teacher in this case is Marvel Rivals SBMM, which I should actually be calling a substitute teacher because it isn't actually working as intended since it's taking rank into consideration more than actual skill. For example, there's no way that I should be in Diamond, and that's not me humble bragging. It's me stating fact because I barely play competitive, and when I do, I tend to have a 50-50 win-loss ratio. I made a whole video diving into that recently actually, but I want to bring it up again in this video because it's pretty relevant to what we're talking about. Some accounts are considered quote-unquote boosted because in the lower ranks at the start of the season, you're given a lot of SR on a win purely to get you out of the lower ranks. They don't want you in Bronze 3 forever, so they'll purposely give you 60 SR or something stupid like that for winning a match so you can actually get into the rank you quote-unquote deserve. The only problem is you don't lose a lot of SR, so the people that actually deserve to be in Bronze sometimes squeak their way into Silver and sometimes even Gold because they're not being fairly punished for losing a match. It goes both ways though. It isn't just people that are skilled being hard stuck Bronze because matchmaking is going all weird and not really working as intended. It's players that aren't necessarily that good being boosted into higher ranks because their team won and they gained 60 SR from a single match. They may have actively contributed nothing to the teamfights and been gooning to Psylocke instead of doing their job, but because the rest of your team did well, they are rewarded for it. So how do we fix this problem? How do we make it so people are fairly ranked based on skill and skill alone? I absolutely think that placements would alleviate this problem. Not outright fix, but just make it a little bit better, because the rank distribution would be more varied rather than having 1.2 million players in Bronze 3. Everybody would be in different ranks, and it would be based a lot more on skill than division-based matchmaking. It would take stats into consideration more than rank, which is exactly what we need to make the game more even and challenging. I know the game is meant to be fun overall, but there should be a level of difficulty in all ranks, not just the extremely high ones like Eternity. This is the competitive mode. Keep the fun, more silly stuff to quick play and event modes, because it kind of ruins the overall high stakes mood of comp. This isn't me molding or shitting on the devs, I just want there to be a distinct difference between both the ranks and game modes. But that just about does it for this video. Now, there's probably a lot more that I could talk about, but off the top of my head, that's everything I actually want to talk about. Sure, I could go more in depth and talk about Smurfs, but honestly, what is the point? Smurfs have been around since well, forever basically, so of course they're gonna be a problem. There's unfortunately not much you can do about them except from going next and hoping you don't run into another one and rack up a loss streak. Yeah, these guys suck and have no life, but I guess that is life. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm gonna ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video as it lets me know that you've enjoyed it and want to see more. Feel free to voice your opinions in the comments as usual, because I love reading and interacting with what you guys think about the situation. It's how we grow this community and bring attention to things that need to be properly addressed by not just us as players, but the devs as well. Finally, have a nice day or night if you're watching this at night, and make sure you check out some of my other videos. Not only will I appreciate it, but you might too.